My name is Father Brendan Mc Manus. I'm a Jesuit priest. I'm from Laudato in County Fermanagh. This short video is about my journey to ecological awareness, just to waking up to the importance of the planet, the environment. Being born on a farm, I think, was a great help in terms of that connection with the soil, that connection with the earth, and realizing I'm part of a bigger system, part of a bigger world. My job as a Jesuit priest is to help people to wake up to the reality of God in their lives. So God is an active agent who's bringing us to the awareness of what is real and what is true and what is beautiful. So awareness about who we are, what we're here for, and trying to make a difference to the world, especially to this world which is so ecologically challenged at the moment. So I was brought up on a farm here in Laudato, and I think it was a great upbringing because it teaches you about the important things of life. Obviously there's the work aspect to it, but there's also the aspect of how things are connected, the interconnectedness of things, if you like, in our world. So how food is created. So for example, where beef comes from, where milk comes from, the crops, how things grow, fertilizers, the role that we have to play and all that. So that's a brilliant upbringing, and it always stands to me, and I always think of that, I always remember that. But also, obviously, there is a bit of a downside, especially as I have grown up and I have learned a bit more about the environment. I understand that there's just growing one thing, for example, like just looking after cattle as we were. It's a monoculture, and it rules out other things. Like, for example, it dominates how you use the land. So we would use the land to make grass, to make feed for the cows. So using fertilizers, for example, overusing the land, taking out the hedges. Originally this farm would have been self-sufficient, so would have had a little bit of everything. And that's probably the ideal that we want to go back to, really. But nowadays everything's so specialized, everything is very high-tech, everything is based on exploiting the maximum out of the land. And I think we have to move away from this, obviously, because it's not good for the earth, and it's not good for us ultimately. So just in the last couple of years, I've really got into this open water swimming. So swimming in lakes and rivers and in the sea. And it's been a beautiful thing just for myself, for health reasons initially. So you feel really good, you get some great exercise. It's really good for your head, I think it's really good for mental health. A lot of people, because of the lockdown and the coronavirus, a lot of people have turned to open water swimming. It's one of the few things you can do safely, but the benefits are enormous. It's really good for your body, it's really good for your head, and it's really sociable. It's such a mad thing that people are in solidarity with each other and you talk to other people. But it's the being in touch with nature, I think, being outdoors in the water. It's a lovely feeling. It's really difficult to explain it. When you're in the water, you're immersed in it, you're part of it. And you're out there in the water, and you're swimming, and you come out feeling like $1 million. Well, I think because it's so popular, but also because there's so many issues around water at the moment. Just in the last couple of weeks here in Fermanagh, there's been a sewage spill in the water because of all the flooding, so that the swimmer's health is put at risk, because as a swimmer, you're right in the water, so anything in the water, you're going to pick it up. And I've known swimmers that have got sick, from being in contact with polluted water. So it's a key thing. Obviously, the health of the swimmers is key, but also just the health of our world. I think water is a key resource. I mean, it's absolutely crucial to our well-being. So it's so important that we maintain it, we keep it well, and especially protecting it from pollution. is my home church. This is Holy Cross Church. So I'd have been baptized here as a child. I would have had my first communion here. I was also, when I was ordained a priest, I had my first mass here. And obviously some of my family are buried here, so it's a place very close to my heart. I've been involved with it my whole life, a whole kind of faith life. I think the church here probably laid the foundations for what happened later on. So it would have given me a basic sense of the important things in the world. And I often say this to people now when I'm teaching people about spirituality. I say the most important thing is believing that we are created by God and that the world has been created by God, and everything is fundamentally good as a starting point. One of the things, people often start with a bit of a negative starting point. So I have to say, this is the way God has created us. This is the gift that we have been given. And especially the world, the environment, everything that surrounds us, this is all part of God's creation and worthy of respect and worthy of care and worthy of putting some effort into looking after this great gift that we have been given. Trying to find God in everything and trying to find God in the real. I often say to people that God is in the real, in the reality of things. So the reality of where we're living now is this moment of ecological crisis, and this moment of the cry of the earth, and this moment of the destruction that's being done to the planet in all sorts of different ways, the air, the water, the exploitation of resources. So I feel this is the call, and that's what Pope Francis tells us. This is the call of today, to respond to the way that God is calling to us through this reality that we're living just now, and how we have to change our lifestyle, how we have to change our priorities, and how we have to see things differently and treat things differently, treat the world differently, treat other people differently, treat resources differently, and especially this thing about respect, care, trying to see things in a new way. For me personally, Laudato Si has been one of the greatest moments of realizing that the Pope is with us on this journey, that the Pope is taking science seriously, and that we are committed to doing something in the world. I think sometimes religion can be a bit removed from reality, or it can be disconnected. And this was a moment of great connection. This is a moment of great taking stock of where we are, believing science and wanting to do something constructive in the world. So for me personally, it was a great moment of a lot of different things coming together and a sense of this is the mission that we've been given. I think it's true that we're all in this together. It's going to take a huge effort, and it's going to take a whole kind of change of consciousness, change of awareness. I think that is what spirituality is about, and that's what good spirituality is about. It's about waking up to the reality of where we are. So it's about moving away from, being disconnected or being in a bubble or being cut off, and it's about kind of emerging into the light, emerging into the reality. And there's parts of it that are ugly, there's parts of it that are hopeful and good. We have to try to live in the light, and we have to try to move towards the good. And everybody has a journey to walk. Everybody has a part to play in this. And I think if we all play our part, then we can make this huge shift. And just tuning into your own call or vocation or whatever you've been given can be an enormously empowering part of that. We've come to the Marble Arch Caves, one of my favourite places in Fermanagh, and again, just a beautiful place. You can see the limestone rock all around here. This whole area is a huge honeycomb of limestone rock which erodes quite easily. Limestone is previously the bed of an ocean, so it's quite soluble in rainwater. But this whole area is covered in this it's called a karst landscape. So it's this area of sinkholes, limestone rocks, underground rivers. Fantastically, there's a whole cave system just behind me here. And just behind me is Culkey Mountain, which is this probably the highest point in Fermanagh. And there's this walk up there. I used to walk there as a kid, and it's now known as the Stairway to Heaven. They've made this wooden stairway over the bog. So one of the issues here is the blanket bog. which is a beautiful ecosystem in itself. But the erosion of the bog has led to flooding down in the caves. So the excess of water, which is not being trapped in the bog, is flooding off into the water systems, and there's raising it up, and sometimes prohibits the use of tours through here. One of the big issues in this area has been the proposal of fracking, which is this technology they use in order to elicit the gas. They inject in these toxic chemicals into the rock structure. So obviously in such an ecologically sensitive area where this is a whole honeycomb of caves and fractures and underground rivers, just the consequences of that. So one consequence is pollution of the water system. The other consequence is air pollution. So just the very idea of that we would want to do this in such a beautiful area, such a very sensitive area, it has to be opposed. We have to protect this planet. We have to protect this beautiful place, which is so close to my heart.